Tarique Rahman, the senior vice chairman of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, BNP, of today. The symbol of nationalist unity of tomorrow's Bangladesh, he represents all the Bangladeshis who seek for development. He's a popular politician who bears the hopes and dreams of the common people. He wants to change Bangladesh and give it a new identity. He envisions a developed Bangladesh that becomes a model of the developing world. His change is about prosperity, self-dependency, and sustainable development. His vision is about a country thriving with cohesion and unity, and a society with a new landmark of socio-economic progress. Tarique Rahman believes what we need first is the economic empowerment of the grassroots people. That's why his political ethos points to a new Bangladesh, where personal success brings national superiority. An initiative and a little endeavour bring self-solvency and make the country self-reliant. Bangladesh, home of around 170 million people, has agriculture as its socio-economic lifeline, where 80% of the citizens live in villages. Tarique Rahman stresses that the politics of change cannot be based on urban setups. It has to rely on villages to engage with the rural villagers, to speak with the grassroots, to hear their stories, and to solve their problems.
Across the world, many people believe that politicians don't care about their views or about their problems. Yet thankfully, Tarique Rahman is a different kind of politician from the majority. Through his campaigns and tireless touring of the villages and towns in Bangladesh, he has taken the trouble to find out the needs and the concerns of the people, opening a real dialogue and encouraging them to get involved at the grassroots level, from the bottom up, and working towards solving the community's problems. Tarique Rahman has shown over many years his deep concern for the economic deprivation that affects so many people, and he wants to improve their living standards. These are very noble objectives, and I fervently hope he gets the opportunity to put them into practice sooner rather than later. As a person who has dedicated more than 20 years as a great patriot, working to achieve the best possible outcomes for Bangladesh.
The people of Bangladesh are brave and hard-working. With proper guidance and support, they can easily become a precious asset that will change the face of the country. If motivated and empowered properly, they will become the key to national self-dependency and sustainable development. Tarique Rahman is an inspiration for all these marginalised people. In their pursuit of the pathway to prosperity, they've had his encouragement and assistance. He stood by their sides, just as one of them, in their sorrows and happiness, in their daily lives and in their special occasions. The BNP is the largest and most popular political party of Bangladesh. It has units with leaders and activists in every single village of the country. Tarique Rahman believes that these leaders and activists are an asset not just to his party, but to the whole nation. They don't limit themselves to political slogans and processions. They hail from among the people, they communicate with the people, and they belong in the very grassroots of the country. To address and eradicate social problems like school dropout, healthcare management, the dowry practice and population growth, Tarique Rahman urges the use of the human resources of the BNP as the driving force and the change agent. Bangladesh has 64 districts and 68,000 villages. Tarique Rahman's footsteps have covered just about every bit of it. he travels from one corner of Bangladesh to the other to empower the underprivileged villagers and give them new dreams and hopes. He opens new doors to opportunities and makes a difference in their lives. He confers with his party's grassroots leaders and activists. He visits and hears them. He assures them that no workable plan for the country's prosperity can afford to exclude the interests of the rural sections. If one really wants to know about Tarique Rahman, just go to the villages, talk to the grassroots and ask the rural youths who aspire to prosper and become self-dependent. To them, Tarique Rahman isn't just a person or a politician anymore, he's a symbol of nationalism and patriotism. He's a symbol of political thought, a thought that takes its root at the grassroots of Bangladesh, and a thought that sees Bangladesh in the eyes of the common people. Fearing the swift rise and unprecedented popularity of Tarique Rahman, an undemocratic, unconstitutional and anti-Bangladesh regime threw him into jail on the 7th of March 2007. They threatened to kill him and tortured him with utmost brutality. By the prayers and protests of tens of millions of well-wishers, Tarique Rahman survived the death trap. But such was his physical condition that he had to urgently fly to the UK to receive cutting-edge medical treatments. Even after 5 years, he's still recovering from that inhuman torture. While his wounds are healing slowly, he's getting ready to finish what he had begun: empowerment of the grassroots people and development of an inclusive Bangladesh. With his patriotism and passion as a progressive politician, Tarique Rahman is waiting to be surrounded by the rural mass of Bangladesh yet again. Policies that break new grounds don't go unnoticed. Tarique Rahman's work is no exception. As days go by, he becomes more and more popular in the wider world. Rigorous academic and professional researches are taking place, both at home and abroad, to examine and appreciate his political thoughts and policy proposals. His timely approach to the empowerment of the grassroots is attracting the attention of renowned international scholars, researchers, authors and political analysts. Bangladesh Policy Forum Cambridge, a political think tank formed by the researchers of the University of Cambridge, has recently published a book on the ideas and works of Tarique Rahman. The book comprises 17 articles written by eminent national and international academics, journalists, analysts and professionals. Tarique Rahman's thoughts and policies are being praised in Bangladesh and abroad. Francis Davis says,
"Of a life where torture has been present to the construction of fresh political hope is a similar set of acts which witness to soft vengeance, because any political regime in Dhaka or anywhere else that uses political imprisonment or political violence or torture as a tool of management is not worth any kind of credibility, support or moral or international recognition." So the message to me of the book is one of hope and unity, because there's a new hope simply that it's there and that a new story is being told again. The book in that sense itself is an act of soft vengeance. But it talks about other things: family, the need for the rural areas to be empowered and to be connected to the urban areas, so there's no urban bias, no lack of resources flowing beyond the cities to the poorest of the poor, who so often have rents extracted from them by those who extract rents in the policy-making process. And how to do that, using technology, using a reinvented state, commitment to human rights, and a Bangladesh which connects itself internationally and looks up and around to the best examples. Now, in this country, we're having those conversations as well, as my colleague said earlier. How best to get budgets down through the state. How best to drive budgets, resources and empowerment through civil society. How to create new markets so that particularly those at the bottom of the economic pyramid can find new ways to trade their way to empowerment and to freedom. These are all questions that are touched on in the book, and therefore all reasons why the book should be bought by every single one of you in piles of 10 before you go home, if you can, or failing that, on Amazon.
Dr. David Edgar says,
The book's subtitle is The Empowerment of Grassroots People. In a part of the book, it talks about the principle of bottom-up rather than the top-down exercise of power. It talks about fostering strong grassroots organisations, such as unions, working with local communities, not simply about recording the views of people in local communities, but about inspiring people that their views can matter, and that by organising themselves into political action groups, they will gain strength in their numbers and persuade others to join them. And that description, the approach that Tarique Rahman adopts, I think is very close to some of the work that we've done in community organising.
John Clayton says,
I earnestly hope, Tarique Rahman, that you will soon be able to return home and realise the clear objectives that you have for your country and your people, with everyone getting involved, truly involved, and communities working for each other, thus enabling Bangladesh to achieve its full and very exciting potential in the modern world. Thank you.